Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the iPhone 12 Pro Max and the iPhone 14 Plus and see, which one is the better one for you. Now, it's very interesting because both these phones have some very interesting differences, but there's also a lot of similarities between both as well. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely tell that both of them are almost identically the same exact size. The 12 Pro Max on the front has a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED panel. Now, this is a pretty good display. Some things you are lacking though in this day and age, it's not promotion. The notch is a little bit longer than the 14 Plus, but otherwise, I think this panel is overall better than the 14 Pluses. It looks sharper, it looks better. I don't know if it gets brighter. I think the 14 Pluses gets brighter, but this is still a very good panel that I actually do like a lot. So definitely, I would say the 12 Pro Max probably has a better panel, but with the 14 Plus, it was a cheaper phone than when the iPhone 12 Pro Max originally came out. This one came out in 2020, and that was a $1,099 phone. This one is now a $899 phone, but you're getting the same screen size, which is nice at 6.7 inches, Super Retina XDR OLED panel. It's still a pretty good panel, it's definitely not perfect, but I think it definitely gets the job done. I will say if you are wanting a big size phone and you don't want to spend $1,099, well, I guess you can save $200 and buy this one. The 12 Pro Max is still substantially cheaper in the used market than an iPhone 14 Plus right now. On top of that, if you look at the thinness and thickness factor, I think they're almost identically the same thing, but the difference here is that the bands and the chassis around the iPhone 12 Pro Max looks and feels way more premium than the iPhone 14 Plus. The 14 Plus feels like the iPhone 6. The 12 Pro Max feels like a $1,000 phone still, which is very, very cool. On top of that, the iPhone 14 Plus does not have a SIM card tray. The 12 Pro Max does actually have a SIM card tray within it, which is really awesome. So I don't like how Apple kind of removed that. I wish they kept it. Unfortunately, we do have that capability, or we don't have that capability on the iPhone 14 Plus. We do have it on the 12 Pro Max, which can be a pretty big deal for some people. Now on the back, excuse the complete crack back I have my 12 Pro Max, you are getting a little bit of a different kind of setup overall as well. With the 12 Pro Max, you're getting a triple camera setup, a wide ultra-wide telephoto lens. The 14 Plus, you were getting a wide and ultra-wide lens. So there's also a little bit of a difference there. Now on top of that, you're getting a frosted glass back on the 12 Pro Max, which feels extremely, extremely premium. The 14 Plus, on the other hand, you're getting the standard glass back. So that can be kind of a disadvantage for some people, considering the 12 Pro Max was a 2020 phone that came out 2 years ago, and it feels more premium overall than the 14 Plus. So that can be kind of a disadvantage, but regardless, there's still some capability for the 14 Plus. You're getting MagSafe capability on both, wireless charging on both, NIP certification on both. But with the iPhone 14 Plus, you are getting the emergency SOS satellite mode, which is cool. You're getting crash detection here too, which is awesome. You are getting 5G support on both phones so far, which is awesome. But overall, what I'll tell you is the 14 Plus, I think, has more features overall, but the 12 Pro Max, for it being 2 years older, is actually surprisingly kind of pretty good, to be honest. And it is better in the build quality department and maybe in the display as well. Now, in terms of software and longevity, they're both going to be supported for many more years to come. The 12 Pro Max is not going to be outdated anytime soon. But the problem now we're kind of having right now is that with the 12 Pro Max, it is only a year-old chipset compared to the 14 Plus. So even though the 14 Plus is 2 years older, it only has a chipset that's 1 year newer. So Apple kind of put the same chipset here as the 13 series, and that was only 1 year newer than this one. So it's kind of tough to see which one is going to last the longest. I'm pretty sure the 12 Pro Max isn't going to be outbeaten by a ton compared to the 14 Plus. I guess we're going to have to wait and see, but in terms of that, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The iPhone 12 Pro Max has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. Where the iPhone 14 Plus has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigs of RAM as well. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. Let's go and hop all the apps in the background, which we already hopped out on. So let's get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Music, 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing too. Let's go and get into Safari, 3, 2, 1. Let's just go and see what, I totally messed that one up too. Okay, let's go and hop out of this one. Let's go and get into settings, 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Health, 3, 2, 1. I think the 12 Pro Max may have been faster. Let's go and get into news, 3, 2, 1. And I think the 12 Pro Max may have been faster, but it was still very, very close. Apple TV, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go and hop out of here. App Store, 3, 2, 1. Okay, two kind of different pop-ups on both. Let's Let's go and scroll through. Now they're both at 60 hertz like I mentioned before, and we can kind of see that scrolling through is kind of the same thing, not really that big of a difference. But also hopping out of applications, kind of going through with the gestures is almost identical as well, as you guys can see. So it's not really that big of a difference there either. Mail 3, 2, 1, same exact thing. Notes 3, 2, 1. 12 Pro Max slightly faster. Reminders 3, 2, 1. Almost identical. Clock 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing too. Let's go open up their cameras 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now let's go and take a photo 3, 2, 1. Let's go and open up that photo. And kind of the same thing too, so not that big of a difference. Photos 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's go out of here. Let's go and get into some other applications. We can try Files 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing. We can try iTunes Store 3, 2, 1. Pop up here. Let's go and get out of here. Watch 3, 2, 1. Kind of the same thing, so not really that big of a difference there either. We can try Translate 3, 2, 1. Okay, and I guess we have Tempo Run 2 here, so we'll go and open up that one 3, 2, 1. But overall, what I'm kind of seeing is there's a very similar type of performance between both. Of course, we get into that pop-up. I think overall, when you kind of consider, that the iPhone 12 Pro Max is 2 years older, I do think that the 14 Plus is going to be the faster one overall, but I don't think it's going to be that much faster than the iPhone 12 Pro Max. As you guys can see from the few apps that I open up, pretty much the same exact thing. Yeah, I think the 14 Plus probably is the overall faster one, but there were many times the 12 Pro Max opened up the apps faster too. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. In terms of the camera setups, like I mentioned before, triple camera setup on the iPhone 14, triple camera setup on the iPhone 12 Pro Max, wide ultra-wide telephoto lens. 14 Plus has a dual camera setup. Now with the 14 Plus and with the 12 Pro Max, we're getting 4K at 60 on both the front and the back, which is nice. But I will say with the 12 Pro Max, it was the triple camera setup of 2020 that was probably the better one out of at least all the iPhones. And this thing, you are getting the 0.5x zoom, but you're also getting 12x zoom internally. So you can zoom in 12x. The 14 Plus only has, like 5x? So you're getting way more zoom, over twice the amount on the 12 Pro Max. You're also getting portrait mode here, getting standard video mode. You are getting more modes on the iPhone 14 Plus, but this is still a very good camera. And I will say, for the most part, the camera on this phone is probably one of its best features. Now the 14 Plus, this is a really good camera still. And Apple, with its A15 Bionic, did a really good job at video and photo post-processing. But if we make our way over to the photo camera, like I said, 0.5x zoom here, only 5x zoom. It's not that big of a deal, but it is one of those things to keep in mind. You're getting portrait mode, which is nice, video mode, but you're also getting cinematic mode, which is something the 12 Pro Max doesn't have. You can also do cinematic mode up to 4K, but you also get this new action mode within this camera, which is like super stabilized video. We don't have that capability on the 12 Pro Max, so probably another thing to keep in mind. And overall, I will probably tell you when it comes down to it, the iPhone 14 Plus is surprisingly, it's a good iPhone for sure. I don't want to hate on it too much. It's a very good iPhone, but I don't know if it's a good iPhone for the price tag. For $899, you're getting a phone that is kind of the same thing as the 12 Pro Max. You're getting a better chipset here. You're getting a better battery life. But other than that, maybe this phone will last longer, but I don't think it's worth $900. I think this phone is worth more like $700 or maybe $650. When I look at the 12 Pro Max, you can buy these things all over the place for probably around $500, probably even less than that. And this phone is more of a flagship, I would feel like. You're getting better build quality, kind of a better camera setup, although the cameras, I think the capability and everything's better on the 14 Plus. You're not getting better battery life, but you're not getting a phone that's like half the phone of the 14 Plus. If you still own a 12 Pro Max, or if I'm deciding between these two, I may just end up buying the 12 Pro Max because this thing is still more like a flagship and feels more like a flagship than the 14 Plus. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that means so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.